Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another day of the Overwatch League here in the APAC region. I am Achilles, joined by Avril, and we'll be guiding you through not just tonight, not just tomorrow, but all 3 days of the action. 7 matches, kicking things off for our first one. We're going to have the Seoul Dynasty going up against the Chengdu Hunters.
It is 7-match September, Achilles. Didn't you know? I mean, that's what
Right
it's
at the
about to
end.
be. All seven right at the end. This is the last weekend of September. And the last week, by the way, before the launch of Overwatch 2. It's coming. It's officially coming. How many days out now? Like 5? It's less than a week. It's less than a week is what it is.
It's pretty damn close.
So I'm excited. We're so damn close. We're so damn close to getting there. But we do have some exciting matches to go through tonight. Important ones as well in terms of how it's going to affect our standings as well as entry into both playoffs and qualification into play-ins, as only 6 teams in this region can make it to play-ins. The top 3 go directly to the playoffs, and the bottom team, the last place team in 7th, is going to be automatically eliminated, and for them, their season will be over. And looking at the standings so far, those are the 2 main talking points. Achilles at the 7th place, dodging of that, and sneaking into 3rd place as well. So currently the Charge, the Valiant, they are somewhat neck and neck, 2 points apart in terms of escaping the dredges of 7th place. And then for the fight for top 3, Seoul Dynasty and Dragons are locked in. They cannot be removed from the top 2, which means there's only 1 position left for... I think Hunters can technically still make it. Charge cannot. Hunters would have to win all 4 of their matches, and I believe Fusion will have to lose all 4 because there's a 4-point gap between Fusion and Hunters. So technically, still on the board, still on the cards for the Chengdu Hunters, but they got to go flawless from here on out.
Yeah, and I mean, being able to take down the Seoul Dynasty here with a clean series would definitely be a really good shot for the Chengdu Hunters' odds to be able to do that. If they can best them, then, you know, maybe it's going to be a breeze for the rest of those series, but you never really know when that Chengdu zone is going to crop up again. We'll take a look at our starting lineup, so starting with the side of the Chengdu Hunters, and once more, it's not going to be anything too shocking. We don't have Dynasty starting, and we'll be Gaga there.
I want to talk one more point about that Chengdu zone as well, because not only do they still have a pathway qualification in for playoffs, but also, they're not quite safe from 7th place either. Philadelphia Fusion and the Hangzhou Spark, they are safe from being eliminated. They, at very minimum, will still make the play-ins. They cannot finish 7th place. Hunters, Charge, and Valiant still can. So the Hunters sit on this very, very kind of middle ground of a precipice between having the capability of direct qualification to playoffs, but also in equal degrees, having the capability of unfortunately losing out in play-ins entirely. So they really are in a dangerous position. They really got to win. But I think thankfully, Achilles, they do look like one of our better teams so far for the stage.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they've been looking just utterly impeccable. Monk in particular, fantastic on the Ana. Jinmu has just been pounding kind of regardless of what he picks up. So certainly should have their work cut out for them going into this series here on the side of the Seoul Dynasties. We'll take a look at the starting 6 over there as well. But much like this lineup, it's not going to leave much to the imagination here. It is just going to be the straight-up 5 that we have been seeing.
Yeah, with Ares on board as well, who has so far fit very comfortably into the Seoul Dynasty, and his counterparts from his old team, the Houston Outlaws. Creative has also fit quite comfortably on that team as well. So that trade between Seoul and Houston has been quite a positive trade, I would say, for both sides so far. Both teams looking very, very invigorated and in a position to win, dominate their respective regions. Certainly Seoul Dynasty is looking number 1 at the moment. When they took down the Shanghai Dragons, that really was both in the fashion that they did, a 3-0 fashion. Somewhat surprising result, given that Shanghai's actually just won Summer Showdown, right? So they're defending champions. They beat Seoul, I think 3 times in the Summer Showdown. And then right at the gates, Seoul beat them right back 3-0. So Seoul now currently are top in the leaderboard for the Countdown Cup.
Yep, stretching that lead just a little bit more. But like we said, they are both locked in. So for this, it's really just the brownie points and trying to make sure that you can tout yourself as being the best of the region going into the playoffs later on down the line. But it is wild how close we are now to the release of the game, to the playoffs as well. It has been a bit of a long season, but it's been a very long wait. And the game is just around the corner, and it feels a bit surreal. I don't know how I'm going to split my time, Avril. We've got a lot of games to be playing at the moment. So with Overwatch 2 also releasing, yeah, I've been wrath-pilled like crazy when it comes down to World of Warcraft. Now that you've announced the release date of Dragonflight, I don't know if I'm actually going to play that one, but it's, yeah, it's not good for my sleep schedule, that's for damn sure. So with Overwatch 2 coming out as well, I don't know exactly how I'm going to split my time.
A lack of sleep, I think will be the answer to your question there. Just, you know, sacrifice sleep.
We've been getting there.
Games.
It's been happening.
And
I mean, I was 35, I think, consecutive hours when Wrath came out, something like that. Slept for about 5 hours, and that's been me for the last 3 days. So, you know, we're we're running on empty, but it's okay. We're good to go.
35 consecutive.
The diet of sugar-free Red Bull and, like, McDonald's and some other stuff has been carrying me through. So we'll see how long I can keep this one up. I have hit 30 years old now, so I should start taking a little bit better care of my body, I suppose.
Yeah, you lose 1 extra hour of consecutive amount of time you can stay up with each year that you are older. So I can only do 42 hours. No, I'm kidding. I don't know, actually. I haven't tried for a while. I probably don't want to try. Leaves back in the lobby now. Well, he's entered his seat, so he's getting ready to play. We have all of our 10 starters up and ready to go. And got to say as well, Hunters will be interested to see on map 3 for Escort if Daisy comes back in. Now, there's been a bit of discussion around, you know, what does the meta actually look like? What is the top tier picks? And we see a lot of, you know, the comps in NA being focused around D.Va, Zarya. There's a lot more off tanks in North America. They're playing a lot of double flex support as well. Here in the East, we have mainly the single flex support plus a main support, just a traditional duo. We have a lot less double flex support lineups in general, and I think we have a lot more main tanks, given we, in this lobby alone, you got Gaga and Smurf, so we're seeing a lot more Winston gameplay. I do wonder if teams are going to start leaning into a little bit more Zarya, and I think the reason I say that, not because of NA's influence, but specifically you look at Piggy from the charge. I think Guangzhou beating Shanghai as well really opened up some eyes, so we get to see Shanghai a little bit later on, see how much they've changed, if they've changed at all. So far for these two teams, we're seeing that they're definitely going to stick to their guns. And we'll see, because Fusion also did quite well with Fury on Zarya. So let's take a look at our map set here. Starting things out on Busan, and then Dorado's on board now. Because Dorado's on board, I actually think Gaga might stand just to play the Winston, but that'll be 2 maps down the line.
Yeah. Well, I think this is just a taunt, because, I mean, I mentioned to you earlier when we were first getting checked in, I was going to maybe go to Busan this weekend, but we got fully booked up, so no days off,
you're here.
which I don't mind.
Well, you're here.
So I'm here, but yeah, we got the Busan in the end. Not quite.
Speaking of Busan, by the way,
the scenes I was looking for.
I want to, before we enter game, I want to mention really quickly, just to build some hype for it, but Seoul and Fusion will be playing their match next week live in Busan. In the Esports arena there, where contenders matches has been hosted. Many contenders finals have been hosted there, so we're actually going to get a live Overwatch match in APAC next week. But that's next week. Let's focus on right now. Chengdu Seoul, we're going to roll out. Smurf on the Zarya, Gaga on the Zarya. There we go.
Okay.
2 main tanks, but it's 2 Zaryas.
And it is. Well, they're looking for the Zarya there. Hack went across, but they're unable to find the pinch. And actually, it's going to be Vinham taking down Jinmu, opening things up quite nicely here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Here's now under a bit of fire as Gaga looks to pressure him out. Leave will find the rail shot to take down Fitz. The cleanup is coming through. Smurf just going to try to build as much of a grab as he possibly can, but inevitably does die, and that will be the cap coming through first for the Chengdu Hunters.
A really fast first blood coming through Jinmu as well. The follow-up from Leave. Look at the old charge already onto those 2 members. Chengdu have forgone the Sombra gameplay, not interested in that one. You have 2 of their players still on very comfortable picks. Jinmu Genji is always going to be a strong look for the Chengdu Hunters. Let's see if they can hold on to their positioning now as Fitz looks for opening hack. I don't think he got one.
Doesn't seem like it. Excuse me, I was choking on some water there. That didn't go across on the microphone, but Prophet now just getting zoned out a bit. You see Jinmu has been surging forward. Gaga does get taken down, and Jinmu will fall as well. But him getting up on top of him, finds him with a right click. Prophet popping the deflect, just trying to stay alive. It has a good amount of fuel. Smurf is 100 energy. He manages to go ahead and smash out both of the supports. So the flip will be there for the side of Dynasty. Chengdu Hunters, they accrue 37%.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Smurf's ult charge here as well. He's actually doing double the damage, or nearly rather double the damage of Gaga so far, who's still trying to catch up. And at this stage, you know, the opening hack from Fitz landing on top of Gaga, enabling that play to come through. I think there was a bit of a window of opportunity there for Chengdu to still strike back, but couldn't quite find the opening for it. Now Grab's going to come on through. Should be coming in this choke as well. Smurf low, though.
Oh, he's going to use it. Get the solo here. On to Leave. The Nano going to be invested for Monkey's Blood just to try to keep him alive. In the meantime, Smurf turns his sights over to Gaga. Will find that elimination, so it still does manage to come up with a kill here on the side of the Dynasty, maintaining that man advantage here for themselves. Vinham first to have the beat, and he should not far behind. We'll see when the trigger does get pulled on these, because Fitz has that EMP locked.
And that's the thing, right, because we're looking at two potential plays here for Seoul Dynasty. They can go aggressive with the EMP, probably not recommended. They'd have to push into Chengdu, or they can allow Chengdu to push out in the open, then EMP them. You also would like to catch Jinmu in that as well.
Okay, well, it's going to be the EMP in response to the overclock. Sound barrier does come through from Nisha. He keeps everybody alive for the time being, and Vinheim is actually going to fall. Prophet take it down as well. 2 kills found. Jinmu will go ahead and resheath the Dragon Blade, gets on top of Iris for another kill. The flip should be there for the side of the Chengdu Hunters, so it's a lead right now for the side of the Dynasty, but a fairly narrow one. It's going to be about a 30% separation when this cap comes in.
And that is exactly why you have to catch Jinmu in that EMP as well, because he holds the counterplay cards, right? He can pull that blade through, and Vinheim would have to counter immediately with that sound barrier. You notice that Vinheim was actually already on half HP as Jinmu dives on in. Jinmu actually might have been the one that put him at half HP. He didn't want to Ajax his sound barrier, so he kept it. Jinmu pulls blade, gains value. Hunters turn around the fight very quickly, despite the EMP. So very important that Fitz would catch Jinmu, did not do that, and Chengdu have the advantage now. They can play through this grab, but there's still a beat blade on board for Dynasty.
Yeah. Grab could be everything. Nano nearly up for Monk as well. Keep somebody alive. Let's see where he decides to just turn his attention to with that one, but Smurf going to be taken down. Jinmu just dashes right through, finds the kill. That's going to have to be a reset from the side of the Dynasty, and now the lead will be retaken, I should say, for the side of the Chengdu Hunters.
And Hunters get the save ultimates there as well, so just a neutral kill. No grav burnt, built up a free nano on top of that as well, and they can play through for Nano Blade. If this goes longer, Monk would like to not have to burn it on a Gaga or maybe Monk, or rather Nisha, if possible. He is Monk. Seoul Dynasty now looking towards nearly 4 ultimates.
Oh, grab is absolutely massive there. Just a couple. Prophet actually managing to survive despite getting nanoed out. Pulls the blade, finds 2. Gaga killing himself off the right click, actually. This Prophet will go ahead and slurp himself a 3rd kill. Cleanup is there, just shy of that 99%. But Chengdu Hunters, they do have some ults to work with to try to retake this and close out the round.
Yeah, they're going to get Grav, though. The problem is they have to fight through Grav and a choke and EMP again, so Chengdu actually holding ults there. Notice that Monk didn't use his nano. Jinmu didn't have the blade just yet. It's all 5.
EMP basically catching everybody. Yep, Gaga, I think, able to maybe bubble off the whole thing there on the screen, but now he's trying to answer back a kill on the Smurf. He's got 38 HP. He will be able to beam him down. So that's Smurf out of the fight for a little period of time here. The nano going to be expiring. They shift their weight over to the point. They start looking for the cap. Somebody from the side of the Dynasty is going to have to occupy this position here rather soon, or else the flip is going to be coming through, and actually they give it up. And can they touch? They can't touch.
And no touch!
Okay. All right, sure.
Prophet was there. Too far away. Too far away. I think that could have been a very interesting fight because we have, I believe it was Beat Blade coming up for Jinmu and Nisha. Well, Jinmu had the blade. Nisha was about to find it. And on the other end, it was, I believe, only a grab for Smurf. Now, the critical moment there for me were 2 critical moments. One was when Seoul took the fight to Chengdu, played their nano plus blade plus, I think, 1 other ultimate got in there as well, the sound barrier, I believe. And Chengdu burned only their grab in response and nothing else. To be fair, they didn't have the blade at the time. That was a very important fight for Seoul to win because then they retain tempo control as we head towards the 100% mark. But then Chengdu flip it when they kill Smurf, and Smurf is somehow solo beneath the point on the bridge, caught out by Gaga, and Smurf cannot die there because he had the pivotal ultimate. So Seoul kind of letting that one slip through their fingers a little bit. Smurf on a diva now.
Certainly were. They were just too good, Avril. They flipped the point before it hit 99%, so that when Chengdu regained control, there was just no forced out overtime. If Seoul Dynasty were 1% worse at the game, then they would have had OT. Monk with a nice opening kill. Prophet going to be taken down. Jinmu shifting over now towards that. Sombra going to be matching Fix, and they do catch him out, but he's got the translocator set up.
The Gaga Ball is a very interesting pick here because it does get countered quite a bit by Vinheim and Fitz's specific picks. Now, speaking of picks, Chengdu so far, they have the point control. They've gotten 2 kills in a row. Prophet and Iris have been taken down summarily. Gaga just has to make sure he doesn't get targeted too hard. So far, he's gone below half HP, but not dead. So still, again, has to be very careful. Fitz can build very fast EMPs off of farming Gaga alone.
Slow and steady here. Some pings coming down. Smurf spotting out Lee for a brief moment, who is absolutely destroyed Prophet as far as that pulse bomb build time is concerned. Sleep out on a Fitz, trying to keep him alive, and no, Monk just pushes right up on top of him. Charge right click, Fitz dead. Great sleep from the side of Nisha. I'm used to saying Monk, but great sleep from Nisha. As they continue to go on the hunt, looking for Prophet, pops the recall, still in a dangerous position, gets tagged up,
Man,
takes him down.
Prophet. Yeah, not having a good time against these double flexibles, and it's quite a risky pick as well, because you would imagine that a dive tank plus Sombra Tracer would be able to control double flexibles quite easy, especially when you have an Ana, a D.Va versus an Ana matchup as well. Leave now popping to that pulse that he earns so quickly, as we say. And we're at 56% now for Chengdu. Double EMP is about to be online.
I mean, they've barely touched the point right now for the side of the Dynasty. That's how brutal this has been. They just keep getting picked off one after the other. And Fitz now, spy check going down low. Yep, takes the translocator out. Fortunately for him, there's no one there to go ahead and finish him off. It's about to be 4 ults v 4 ults. There's the EMP.
Oh, the
triggers against pull. Jinmu does get some, but he's going to make it out alive. And Eris is going to fall. Vinheim now under fire as well. Gaga comes up with both kills onto the supports. Pulse pump for Profit. Yeah, wow. It will find Nisha. They get the flip in the meantime, but they still need to win out the rest of the fight. EMP is out from Fitz. He manages to get on top of Lee. Finishes up with a melee hit. Smurf popping that self-destruct. Not going to find any kills, but does manage to stay alive. Tries the point here further as he waits for the reinforcements, waits for the supports to rejoin the fray. Here is at 92% now towards that Transcendence. Desperately going to be needed that one if they want to win this round.
And they had the flip in the middle of the fight there as well. Seoul was able to sneak that one away. Otherwise, we'd already be at 99% for the Chengdu Hunters. Very precarious space to beat. Fitz attempting to assassinate Monk, but look at the pocket healing. Nisha just saves him.
They take him so low, and the pile driver from Gaga is massive. Once more, he sets it for the kills onto both supports. Profit answering a kill back. I'm getting deja vu, though it's not going to be on the Nisha this time around. But
Monk's fragging.
Well, he gets the one. He gets taken down. Monk has been absolutely crushing it right now. The flip is there once more. Dynasty only get the 44%. Chengdu Hunters getting ready to crest 85.
Yeah, and Chengdu's dives have just been much better, right? Gaga landing on top of the pile drives, deleting Eris and Vinheim with a combination of Jinmu and Leave in that play as well. And Seoul Dynasty, the opposite, right? You see them try and dive on top of Monk and Nisha. The peel is so strong. Some more damage focus onto Gaga this time around. We're about to hit the 99 mark. Seoul flip it again. No contest from Chengdu. Gaga was too low.
But again, they flip it before 99%, so it's not going to be a forced overtime. Could it happen twice? Back to back.
EMP coming again.
Crazy. Well, that's going to be the Transcendence pop to go ahead and clear out the minefield. The EMP out from Fitz, manages to catch both the supports. The sleep dart out onto Monk, and they needed that to be able to get that pulse bomb because it had not stopped.
Return.
But Leave answers back with one of his own. That's going to be the Zenyatta's now out of the fight. Now Vinheim and Nisha both falling. Leave and Profit doing their damnedest to try to turn this fight into their favor. He sees the Profit so dangerously low, but he cannot pursue deep enough to try to finish him off. Leave going to be popping the recall. Doesn't take it back up to full. Chipped away out here. Smurf looks for the kill, but Gaga crashes through. Finds Profit. Still in control right now are the Seoul Dynasty, 82%, but the point going to be occupied. Chengdu Hunters once more looking for the flip, and this time somebody absolutely needs to get the touch. The contest is going to be there in time. They stop the flip from coming in. Smurf now in control. The Nano up, as you say, for Vinheim. Leaf goes into the back. He's looking for Fitz. He's trying to take him down. The health pack comes back up. Fitz slurps that up, makes his exit. 98% now. Chengdu Hunters the ones who need to get the touch, and the touch is there. Monk moves forward, Transcendence rolling and trying to keep everybody alive. Nano's down to the Smurf, as you say. Now the self-destruct available. Has that one for a rainy day. Profit gets on top of Nisha, manages to find the elimination. That's one of the supports out of the fight, but gives his life for it as Monk shuts him down once more. Smurf under some fire. Goes low, the self-destruct, a Hail Mary thrown out over the top. Not going to find a pick, but on top of the drum, he is safe. Manages to get the remake off. Straight back into the action now. Leaf throwing down the pulse bomb. Looks for both of the supports. Cannot make the connection, however, so they will stay alive for a little bit longer. But Smurf, in the meantime, does get taken down. The flip is there. Chengdu Hunters now in control of the minefield. Comes down here onto the point. Profit only able to find one. And he's pretty much the only one that can keep this one contested, but he is now fallen. Leave striking him down. Eris desperately trying to build up the Transcendence, but the boot from Nisha is too damn good. Knocks him away from the point before he could get the touch, and even if he got it, it probably was not going to result in a round victory. Chengdu Hunters kick things off beautifully as they take down the Dynasty 2-0 in Busan.
Yeah, that is going to be the first map loss for the Seoul Dynasty so far in the Countdown Cup. They were 3-0 versus the Valiant, 3-0 versus Shanghai. But day one in week 2 here for the Countdown Cup, we already have a map loss for the Seoul Dynasty and Achilles. It's a 2-0 scoreline on Busan as well. Expertly turned around on Mecha Base, and they had control and the lead on Sanctuary for a fair long time as well. Seoul Dynasty did steal away the cap, numerous points on Sanctuary, but it wasn't enough. The dives from Chengdu were better. Leave on the Tracer was better. The backline of Monk and Nisha protected each other, pocketed each other, and were far more difficult to take down for the Seoul Dynasty, and that was the key difference.
Well, well, well. Chengdu Hunters kicking things off nicely. We mentioned, Avril, that if they can get this win, that would really set the stage for them to be able to make that miracle run, go ahead and win their next several series to try to make their way into that number 3 spot. So it's a very solid start. Dynasty looking a little bit out of sorts. We'll see how they fare, though, as they get a little bit of a break. They come back in and get set up for Hybrid. It's going to be King's Row for our second map, so don't go anywhere. The action continues in just a few. Welcome back. A bit of an odd start compared to what we're used to expecting here, as Avril mentioned at the end of that game. First map dropped here for the side of the Seoul Dynasty so far in the Countdown Cup qualifier. Chengdu Hunters managed to take Busan 2-0 in fairly dominant fashion. Dynasty looking a bit out of sorts. Now we come back from the break. Let's see if they've kind of righted the ship, had enough time to really get their heads in the game, because that first map, it didn't look like they were.
And I think, to me, a big difference maker was the Monk Nisha backline. They were very impressive on Busan all around, especially on Sanctuary.
Yeah.
The difference in how effectively they can peel for each other and protect each other and keep them safe versus a Sombra Tracer dive versus the opposite with Eris and Vindame. How many times, Achilles, do we see them both go down the kill feed at the same time to the Jimmu, Leave, Gaga triarchy there, just dropping down on top of them? And I got to focus on one play in particular. Gaga played phenomenally on that map, considering, in my very humble opinion, he is definitely he's having to row upstream on this ball. Given that you are up against a Sombra, Ana combination in this particular meta where even things like a D.Va on the defense peeling is very strong. Your support should not be dying with the D.Va peeling. Prophet can also chase down the ball as well. It's a very dangerous situation to be playing ball. We also have, by the way, the green HP nerf. Now, you can charge 50% ult charge off that, so, you know, even ball gets a slight nerf off that general change. And yet Gaga still expertly pilots this ball and gains immense value.
Very fantastically done from him. Let's see how they fare, though, moving forward. Normally, you know, we do get Dicey showing up sometimes in this, when it comes down to King's Row, but not today. We'll just be sticking through with Gaga all the same, and if he's going to be playing like that in every single map, then I'm all about it. So here we go.
Smurf,
first on the attack here, Seoul Dynasty.
And Smurf onto the Zarya again, so leaning very heavily towards his off-tank hero pool today. You get to see him play any of those main tanks. Maybe swapping towards that on Dorado. I think the Dorado will be a very important map for Seoul, given that Prophet, Tracer, Smurf, Winston is bread and butter on that. But now for Chengdu, they are playing a very different comp. We are seeing 4 different heroes across the board. The only hero that is equal on either side is the fact that we have an Ana. Otherwise, it's completely different.
Yeah. A lot of differences, which again, we were talking about this meta, you know, the meta so far, and how we love it. And this is a reason why. Gaga, though, getting picked off. Prophet finding that kill, that really opens up the point to be captured now for the side of the Dynasty. Made down from Leave. Fitz, Jinmu duking it out. Fitz comes up, Trump finds the kill, dash in. Both of the supports spotted now up onto the high ground in the window. Prophet pinging that one out. 2 ticks surrendered.
2 ticks.
They still wait for
Gaga's
Gaga.
back, though.
I mean, they're pulling away. They're backing away.
They have to go if they want to go now, but they're not going to go now. They have indeed, like you say, pulled away. Gaga not in position. Gaga, to me, would have to come through from the bottom entrance or at least drop through window. He would probably be hacked instantaneously. Chengdu Hunt is very much just valuing the archway hold early on instead of going for any sort of retake scenario. Have to compliment Fitz there for the opening pick and hack onto Gaga that enables that, and now Prophet does very much the same on the beat. Attack.
Prophet looking, well, a hell of a lot better. Does get rail shot there by Leave. Finds that elimination, but I mean, you look at the ult charge between Prophet and Jinmu, and the fact that Prophet is nearly beating him out with that towards a Dragon Blade versus a Tracer is pretty damn impeccable. Monk finishing things off with a nice pick on the Fitz EMP, 12% away though.
That's a lot of the dashing through 3 members on the sort of balcony hallway area on Kings Row A. Also looks over towards B. Jinmu having needed to play very defensively after losing A quite quickly as well. And once again, Gaga is just going to get targeted here with Bubble gone. Hard for Chengdu to make any sort of engage, but they're very close to ultimates. Fitz now setting up for EMP going the back way.
On the hunt. Sees Leave sliding by. Pulse bomb out from Jinmu, not going to find a pick. Jump out the window. There you go. EMP's in. Instantly Leave is greeted with a bio nade. Gets taken down. Nisha falls shortly thereafter in the hand of Fitz. Gaga now just trying to make his exit, jumps back up here onto the high ground. Fitz just stealing away the Mega Pack, making sure they can't play off of that one. Should be a little bit of cleanup, yep, as Gaga will inevitably fall. The cart can continue pushing. So that's about 1 minute and 20 seconds, minute 30. Dealt with here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters, but breaking through that initial archway control is absolutely paramount here for Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah. And that was a very timing-intensive kind of position for Seoul to be in as well, because they had the EMP up and Chengdu just did not. In terms of any ultimates, right, we have Jinmu and Leave kind of just a little bit off there. Nisha was on about 98, 99, so couldn't quite counter the nano or at least make any sort of counterplay to allow Gaga to dive on in. Now Hunters do have something to play through, but Seoul Dynasty still holding to Nano Blade, so still a tricky situation. Monk has to counter this.
Well, he does. They can force his hand with the grab early, though. Yeah, there'd be a really big window here for the side of the Dynasty once more. 5 ultimates nearly built up here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. It's going to be the Nano. Actually going on to the Smurf, so it will not be a Nano Blade. Grab online. Gaga going to be antied out. Pops the Primal to stay alive. Leave on the other side. Overclock at the ready. Finds Iris, but Nisha going to be taken down. Now Monk is out of the fight as well. Vinham able to snipe him. Both supports gone. Now Leave picked off. That's everything in the kitchen sink thrown at this point here by both squads, but it's the Dynasty still standing at the end of it all.
And I'm surprised by the trans usage there. I think Hunters were pressured out, but it's just Smurf rocking up with the Nano. Prophet didn't even receive the Nano to play with the Nano Blade. Smurf hadn't actually used the grab yet, so Monk pulling trigger early gives permission for both those players to eventually play through their ultimates, and Prophet in particular carved through the Chengdu Hunters with very little resistance afterwards. Leave did get a counter trade via his Nano Clock, but not quite enough to stop the Seoul Dynasty. And as you say, all ultimates that were available basically expended. I think Jinmu might have held there. And as we approach C point, just under 4 minutes, could be a pretty good time bank for the Seoul Dynasty. Next EMP can roll them through with a snowball.
Yeah, he's the only one to hold, but he was also the last one to build it up. EMP again at the ready here from Fitz. Sat down below, and it's an instant collapse on the Gaga. Everybody piling in, and this is the Dynasty that we have come to know and love. Looking a lot more like themselves right now on this attack. Chengdu Hunters need to find some semblance of stability here pretty soon. Jinmu still holding on to the pulse bomb, just waiting for a moment. Everybody's clustered up into that right-hand side room. If he can get himself in there, it's potential for a multi-man, but no, lets it loose, looking for Fitz. Won't find him. Fitz gets away scot-free.
Look, Assault, they have control on that right side or left if you're looking from this POV. Currently, they can rotate directly onto the back line of the Chengdu Hunters if they want. Gaga sees that, trying to block Jinmu. Looking for any opportunity to dive on in, but it's just so difficult. Seoul Dynasty have this very effective bunker in place on that side area of the map. Prophet's the only one that's low, but bubbled up and safe. At least Chengdu have held Seoul Dynasty at bay. Waiting for Bob, waiting for Nano from Eris as well on the opposite end. Seoul Dynasty likely to push off this Nano. Probably can't afford to wait for a Blade just yet.
Looking for the hack on the Leave, and Leave shuts it down. Prophet just could not get there fast enough. Now the Nano's been expended by Eris, and I don't know if Prophet's going to be able to do too much with it. Gaga drops down here onto the point. Like going out. Prophet just has to kite back, so they absolutely... Seoul Dynasty think that they have the trap set, but Chengdu Hunters, they snare the Dynasty instead.
Yeah, so fit swapping there as well, so foregoing any sort of EMP to come up. And as I mentioned, Eris just needed to play for the Nano. That was the only opening that Seoul had, and Seoul were burning the candle right down to its base as they start to run out of time. I mean, look, there's still 2 minutes, but they lose all sort of tempo. And Hunters, what an outplay from Leave, and they get to hold on to all their ults, again, including this Bob.
Yeah, the Prophet take it down, slows up the Dragon Blade that he's about to have. Buy some more time still. Granted, it's going to be 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining here for the side of the Dynasty, so it's not like it's an OT situation. Chengdu Hunters still have their work cut out for them, but the ults that they have been able to amass here just through the neutral fighting, it's looking rather good for them to be at least able to bring this clock down further. Fitz is dead.
Just more picks to come through. 5 ults for Hunters. They're consistently finding individual picks. Jinmu's able to land these dives in there. Seoul Dynasty doing very little to be able to hold on to their members. Prophet could be next set. He's committed further forward. Chengdu should maybe think about collapsing.
Let's see. Recall going to be burned there. Jinmu trying to stay alive. Still just holds on to the pulse. You know what? Haven't found the prime opportunity to go ahead and use it. Just keeps it in his back pocket for a rainy day. Fitz again is going to be dead. They catch him up onto the high ground. Jinmu finds a kill. Dashes forward, looks for the pulse bomb stick. Not going to be able to get it this time around. Anti-Ant, one of both the supports on the side of the Dynasty. They do say a lot.
Nano, there it is.
Nano boost now going to be invested. There's the blade pulled from Robin. They sound bury him up as well. He looks to get on top of Nisha. The Sleep Dart comes across. Nisha shuts him down. Now they look for the kill, and Monk is going to have it with the help of Leave. They've got the Nano himself. And everything just comes tumbling down continuously here for the side of the Dynasty. They are struggling to gain another inch.
They are consistently on a 4v5. Fitz is first in multiple fights in a row. Cannot link up with his own team. They play for the Nano play. Seoul Dynasty, their hand is forced because Hunters, they're saying, screw it, we are going to collapse on top of the Seoul Dynasty. Double support ultimates burned there by the Dynasty, and the Nano Blade is shut down by Nisha. Chengdu Hunters, their supports are on a different level today.
Still low energy here for the side of Smurf, trying to build that one up. The overclock going to be popped by Fitz, looking for a target. Everyone just widely eluding him, though. Doesn't manage to find any eliminations. Gaga again diving forward, goes to contest the cart. It's going to get pushed away. Is antied out as well. The grab online, Smurf holding it. Xerus tries to get ready for this next Nano. The grab going to be lobbed in. They get on top of the 2 that were picked off. Xerus, in the meantime, going to be felled by Jinmu. The pulse bomb finds the kill. Fitz, however, well, he makes up for it in the end, it would seem. Dead first in every single fight leading up to this point. Finds 3 in the final one. Jinmu's still desperately trying to keep this cart locked in position. He does so for a damn long time, but as he goes down, there's no one else to take his place. So the cart will eventually glide into the finish. But man, what a hold from the Chengdu Hunters. They were getting brutalized on the first 2 points. And as soon as it turns the final corner, they just do not let that cart move for minutes at a time.
Do you remember what the time bank going into C was? It was above 4 minutes based on memory, about 4:15. at
Something
least,
like that.
if not 4:30. It was a very monstrous looking time bank. But Seoul Dynasty, I think what happened there, and you have to remember as well, most of what actually occurred on C before Seoul started losing fights was just the lack of tempo, because they had suddenly lost all their ultimates, they didn't know how to play in towards further fights, and this grab was really what saved them at the end of the day to allow them to come on through. And even then, Jinmu stayed alive for an ungodly amount of time. He forced the OT, and he nearly allowed his team to get a full wave of respawns. If it wasn't for the OT to respawns being much slower, Chengdu would have had their full wave come back in and possibly have held. But to once more backtrack to what I was talking about previously, we look towards the opening areas of C. Chengdu just played that one very quietly, very slowly. Seoul had no further ultimates to play through. And what little they did have, you know, they tried to play through, did get shut down. Individual members started getting kills from the Chengdu Hunters. Jinmu was able to get Fitz down, I believe, twice in a row. Gaga might have gotten one of those, actually. Nanoblade was eventually shut down as well. Yeah, and it's Seoul Dynasty being reset multiple times after one death alone, and then when they did make ultimate plays, they were shut down. So Chengdu Hunters, again, except for the Smurf grab, everything was going the way of Chengdu on the defense.
That was. Now, let's see how they fare on the attack. Smurf playing up just behind the statue here. Jinmu doing some poking prodding, gets himself up onto the high ground. Just continue to try to chip away where possible. Dynamite from Leave, not going to be finding too much of anything here. It's a little bit of pressure out onto him as Smurf just tries to hold the front line. Jinmu getting beamed down lower and lower, but gets out of range, so they won't be able to find the finishing shot. Smurf just energyless right now. And
that's a
there's
shot.
An opener. Yep, Leave gets Fitz. The Sombra now out of the mix. Trying to keep Smurf alive. Dash up onto the high ground. Jinmu looking to contest. Prophet finds himself stuck in the corner for just a brief moment. Takes the dash out. Manages to escape. First tick going to be surrendered, though.
Seoul can retake. Smurf is in position. They're going to go for this one. They have Eris maybe onto a Nano soon. Niche is there far quicker. At minimum, Seoul is going to force Niche to pop. Jinmu might have a solo kill here. If he can get Vinde, that would be huge.
Monk dead. Huge pickup there from Fitz, but the second tick still going to be grabbed. All the same here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. They're still gaining value, playing this far forward despite the casualty. That's going to be the Nano now invested. Gaga goes jumping in. Probably going to be taken down. He's looking for a little bit more. Looks for Iris. The dive is there. Jinmu backs him up. They find the pickoff. Two members now down to the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Nano out onto Smurf as he desperately tries to build up something, but they've lost the plot, they lost the point, and now it's 5 minutes of the time bank for the Chengdu Hunters.
And that was nearly awesome for the Seoul Dynasty, but somebody woke Gaga up. He was nanoed, and had that not have happened, I don't think Gaga could have made the future dive onto Eris as well, taking him down off the back of then also Jinmu linking up on the same dive. And look at this, Fitz's EMP. So if Seoul were able to keep Gaga, if they had kept Gaga down, played through the EMP, I believe they would have held A. However, Chengdu leave with heroics, giving them the initial pick onto Fitz to start the push onto A to begin with, get them the 2 ticks for free. Seoul step off the payloads for a little bit because they can contest, and it's gone. Fitz now looking for EMP.
Okay, goes for it. Prophet dashes in, finds Gaga off the rip. Once more, going to be punished. Quick little kill here, and that's exactly what the Dynasty need if they want to establish archway control. I was going to mention that, you know, Smurf dying last crucially costs them being able to get into this position, but with the EMP, they do allow themselves to get set up far forward. Okay,
and Hunters is going to have to spend big to get through here. Could be just a Bob to allow them to initially push up. There it is. Now Hunters have to push.
Goes straight in past Smurf. Sleep going to go out into the bomb grab, trying to get some people here in the archway. Smurf, however, still has to back up. The Transcendence is there. From Monk to try to keep everybody alive, and him now going to be taken down. I think he just Ajaxed the beat. I didn't see the shields go out. I think he might have just lost the whole damn thing.
You're correct. Yep,
and the cleanup is there as Monk crushes 2. Gaga still in the back lines, looking for a little bit of extra stagger, and he will find it. Iris dead. The cart completely broken wide open. Now it's just storming through the streets.
And that's Blade held as well. Seoul Dynasty at least did a good job of preventing the Bob from getting additional value off the sleep. But it still allows Chengdu to break the stranglehold and get them through the archway, which is the important thing. And now that they are through the archway, they can start making some real progress. With Leave down, though, Seoul Dynasty have a 5v4 window. Are they going to be forced to pop Blade? You can also see, by the way, long flank from Fitz. Hack Jinmu.
Catches him there for just a moment. Fitz can find some extra kills. We saw him just take down Leave a moment ago. It'd be huge. Drop down Prophet landing on top of Nisha, immediately just carves his way through 3. Nice little play from him with the blade, and that will certainly slow the roll of the Chengdu Hunters here. So much needed, but that's the ult's expended. Fitz now trying to build up for the EMP, so the Dynasty have another thing to work with.
Prophet feeling thankful that the Nisha sleep dart went wide this time. You did see it from Prophet's POV, and that gave Prophet full permission to be able to get the double kill onto the back line. And onto Leapers as well, but Hunters will hold. They actually couldn't respond with their own Nano Blade yet. I believe Nisha was on 99. So this is going to have to be the fight with Jimmy hacked out. They'll wait. They know the Nano Blade is coming through. Solar should be spacing with this one. You can actually see the team is kind of split at the moment. Prophet on towards that right side flanks there. Want to make sure they're spaced well enough. And by the way, Smurf should be holding bubbles at the moment. When Jimmy Nano Blades, Smurf will commit those bubbles into the back line.
It's going to need to be Johnny on the spot with them. Nano out, goes on the leave. EMP strikes, finds both the supports. Fitz and Prophet manage to get it done. Chengdu out, still with the blade pulled. Finds one, they're fighting back. They traded a 2 for 2. Still supportless though on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Leave falling. Means that a lot of the firepower gone. Dashing in, Jinmu trying to get the best of Iris, but he manages to shut him out at the end. Gaga still chasing forward, still trying to find this Ana. But the peel is there, and Iris manages to come up with the kill as he goes off the side of the map.
Just good defense there by the Seoul Dynasty. I mean, great positioning from the supports as well. Let's take a look at Nisha's POV here. He received most of the brunt of the pressure, and as a wrong person, Leave unfortunately gets in the way there. Jinmu doesn't receive the nano, and that is the end of that. Both the supports of Chengdu ended up falling in that fight as well. It's one of those really unfortunate situations, and it can be quite costly. To be fair, though, Vindame also lost a beat, so it's about 1-to-1 here in terms of whipped ultimates.
It's a big interception. They're from Leave.
Friendly
Smurf
interception.
Yeah. Smurf now holding on.
Your linesman gets in the way.
Cut around the back, Fitz. Spotting Monk, goes for the hack. Tries to find the kill. They want to get within that hack window. Can't quite make it happen, so Monk stays alive, still has the Transcendence at the ready.
Time. There's a big issue now, 30 seconds remaining and less to go.
Yeah.
Grav to come through from Smurf can be counterable by Monk, but we're looking for openings from Hunters. What can they open with? Has to be the overclock. Nano Blade online for Seoul now as well. Big job for Monk to do. He has to counter 2 big ultimates, 3 including the Nano. All spotted by Fitz. Revealed, by the way.
Nano Blade pulled. He's looking for the kills. Transcendence is there. Tried to deny, but no, there's so much damage output on Nisha. They managed to find the kills, and that is going to be it. Dynasty. Guilty will be forced out, but you've got several people occupying the cart. The cleanup comes through. What a beautiful point B defense here from the side of the Dynasty. Just continuously slowing things up, one pick after another, just chipping away at that time bank until it drains down to 0. 5 minutes to start with as well for the side of the Chengdu Hunters for that Streets Face push. The Dynasty looking certainly reinvigorated as they swap sides. Now they tie up this series 1-1.
Yeah, Chengdu, man, they had Gaga on 98% on that final fight there as well, but the damage was done. Prophet with the Nano Blade, even with Monk's Transcendence rolling, cuts through Nisha, preventing the Nano Blade. You can see it was a 91, I believe, towards a Nano onto Nisha. Or it could have been a Nano anything, really. Nano to Gaga would have been preferable there, but Seoul Dynasty, you have to remember, A and B is where they made their money. C might have gone poorly for them, but if they hold Chengdu, prevent the C point from even happening, it doesn't matter. Seoul will have it locked down, and that's going to be map 2, done and dusted.
Well, tied up 1-1, Dorado on the horizon for our escort map. And if I remember, last time I think these guys played against each other on Dorado, there was quite a few highlights that were to be had. Well, hopefully we're going to be in for the same treat, because Chengdu Hunters, well, the attack leaves a bit to be desired, still are very much in this game and can go ahead and turn things around. We'll see if they manage it, or we'll see if the Seoul Dynasty can continue on, try to close this out as they get to match point when we come back from the break. So don't go anywhere, guys. Chengdu Hunters versus the Dynasty continues in just a few. All tied up 1-1 with the Seoul Dynasty being able to take King's Row. Now we turn our sights over to Dorado for our escort map and see who is going to be able to take the lead, take this to match point, and potentially close this series out 3-1.
And it was a very good look for Chengdu early on for Busan, a 2-0 scoreline there, and Seoul Dynasty strike back fervently onto King's Row, where they complete the map with a little bit of struggle. A 4-minute plus time back on C ends up eroding down to just 0, but then they complete a B-point defense, and that is enough to enable them a map win. And Chengdu Hunters, unfortunately, were not able to get any more distance there. Some unfortunate ultimates that went awry for them, as well as just a lot of pressure onto Gaga and the rest of the Chengdu Hunters from the Sombra hacking, from Prophet getting some good value there as well. Smurf doing a great job supporting his backline. I think doing a better job with that on the Zarya than he did with the D.Va onto Busan, so moving forward, could be more Zarya, but as we head towards Dorado, our third map, I gotta think, this is potentially where Seoul have to think about going back to the bread and butter of Smurf, Winston, Prophet, Tracer. That's it's been how they've gotten a lot of success in previous stages. It's one of their strongest comps on 2 of their strongest heroes, respectively, per player, and Dorado is the perfect map to do that. Otherwise, I think we could see some potential D.Va on some of those points, because you are looking at high ground, low ground play, but if you are Smurf, really, to me, it's still got to be the Winston, so that's my biggest question.
I'll have to just wait and see. Also would love to see some more Widowmaker battles here. Fitz leave, always a good one to go ahead and spot out, but we'll see if it comes down to that. But the Winston seems like pretty much an assured thing. I'll just wait and see, though. But Chengdu Hunters probably
certainly
feeling pretty damn good. I'm going to say Chengdu Hunters probably feeling pretty damn good after that first map, but a bit of a clock back there from the side of the Chengdu Hunters, catching them in the jaw with a right hook. Let's see if they're still going to be reeling from it, if they will be able to stabilize.
I'm going to be a little bit concerned about New Queen Street there as well, because once we get to a push map where I think Zarya becomes stronger, we're looking towards Reaper gameplay as well. Things can only get more difficult for Gaga, as you have to remember, we haven't even seen a Reaper come through for Seoul just yet, so the Winston doesn't have to even deal with that, despite all the other pressure on board. That is very likely to come through on push, so if Chengdu can't win this one, and I don't particularly favor them on New Queen Street, the series could end there. So to me, Hunters have to kind of bring it back to us to go to a 2-1. That way they have the safety net of losing New Queen Street, taking us to a map 5.
I mean, just historically, the New Queen Street, I might have misspoken about it last week, but yeah, Coliseo, you always pretty much favor the Chengdu Hunters. New Queen Street, the record is not good. So we'll see what happens once we get there. Need to definitely improve on that map, though, all the same. But here's the opening fight. So you will have that Winston v. Winston action coming through, as expected.
And we have our outer players back on their main heroes here as well, as both Eris and Monk will be playing that one. And then Damon Nisha going towards the Briggs. First battle is going to be Fitz versus Nisha, but Leave gets first blood.
Yeah, just going to be able to get a nice little headshot there. Prophet take it down. Anti was out on the 2 as well. Just played back over towards the spawn room. Door is open. Him and Smurf do manage to stay alive as Fitz continues to try to harass out. Build up for that EMP.
Fitz low. Seoul Dynasty will be holding ground for now. That is a great shot from Smurf for Leave. I think Leave might have even slid in the wrong direction as well. That is going to be a costly mistake, allowing Seoul to push forward and Chengdu have to give up space.
A big opening frag there. Smurf is going to be held at bay for a brief little moment there by the Antis. Prophet trying to get himself back into the mix of things. Catch up as far as the vault charge is concerned. 47%, so it is slightly ahead of Leave towards that overclock.
Jimmy Pulse.
Yeah, Pulse not going to find anything. It's a rather rapid build for him as well.
Eris Nano coming up next as well. That will be the play onto Smurf, and Monk cannot hold on. 11 away. Soul would do well to just play for the Nano straight away. There it is.
Okay, Nano's up to Smurf. Instantly gets on top of Monk. Strikes him down before a Nano of his own can come through. Now dives into the back line. Some pressure applied here. The remaining members of the Chengdu Hunters who are desperately trying to get themselves over to point A, but now with Jinwoo taken down, there's just no hope, so they will once again concede the point A cap.
And Smurf, I believe, he's done a great job of staying alive as well. Yeah, 0 deaths. He's been low multiple points. I mean, he's been critical HP, but doesn't quite go down. And that's the kind of difference as well, which allows Eris to get that extra healing. I'm not saying Gaga has, because Gaga's also on 0 deaths. He hasn't died either. But with Leave falling right at the beginning of A, after a bit of skirmishing, Leave also did find first blood, but sliding towards Smurf, getting sniped by the Winston laser. Then Chengdu giving up a lot of space. Eris having already had more nano boost. Seoul can just snowball quite comfortably. Jinmu now on towards an Echo to play through for this B. Spotted by Fitz, already on the high ground. Looking to EMP the backline, has to wait for Smurf to dive in as well.
Oh, sees the supports. They're trying to spy check.
Detected.
He's been detected. Pulls the trigger on it, catches them both, and there's Smurf immediately. The drops of a hat, he arrives. Leaf going to be grounded there for a brief little moment. Smurf is able to chase in. He just continues to rack up kill after kill. Jinmu only able to peel off one.
And Chengdu walk away from that one with 4 ultimates, which is not a good thing. That sounds like a compliment. It's really not. It means that they have unfortunately not been able to start a fight at all. You can see that payload has been moving the entire time. And now Hunters have to blow their entire economy, potentially to hold this one, at least half of this economy, if not more. Nano for sure.
Here's basically playing off on this flank angle by himself, and they still can't quite find him. Sleep Dart shuts down the dive. Don't get a full punish, though.
Fitz now looking for the next target. Look, the payload's still moving. Hunters needs to get on top of this payload.
3 minutes remaining as we're getting ready to just go ahead and cap this one at B. Smurf pulls the trigger first, goes in, primal pop. Gaga now trying to match, trying to find a target, trying to juggle anybody into a corner that he can possibly get, but he's just not able to find it. He just ends up dying. The Nano's not there, as you say. Monk cannot keep him alive. Smurf going to be taken down, however. Profit making up for it. Dashes through, finds the 2-for-1. He's looking for a little bit more. The final swipe will go ahead and finish off Jinmu. And that is going to be the extended team kill coming in as the Dynasty now have 4+ minutes for the final stretch of Dorado.
Yeah, it's a repeat of King's Row all over again, which again is not a good situation for Hunters despite the heroics of C-point defense. Because the time bank is immense here. And Chengdu did not win King's Row. And Seoul Dynasty have had perfect snowballing the entire way through. Hunters didn't get to use ults 2 fights ago. Saved them for a final fight. Didn't get the value on them anyway. Nano held that should have gone to Gaga. When Gaga is almost in the primal, I think you nano him straight afterwards. He gets to play through the nano after the primal runs up and gets to stay alive and hold ground. And Hunters had no ability to also stop Prophet's Blade, so no ability to hold on the payload, no ability to go offensive. Gaga down again, Seoul continues snowballing.
Yep, just solo EMP to kill off Gaga. Seems to work every time. Fitz just in the back line, picking out some positions, looks at the hack there on the Nisha, doesn't quite get it. Nisha manages to turn, raise the shield, keeps himself protected from the dive.
We're on the final fight.
There we are. Or at least the first of several if the Chengdu Hunters can win this first one out.
And Jinmu's on a Sombra as well, but it's just coming so late. He's got the hack on the Smurf. Can they do anything with that? So far, no.
Leave just desperately trying to get some headshots across.
Ult charge. I mean, he's getting the ult charge right. Bob is not that far away. That's a small relief for the Chengdu Hunters.
Nice anti out. Nano in response on a Smurf, but Gaga again. There's just no bailouts for him. He just ends up getting taken down. Profit finds that kill, gets leave. Jinmu's dead, and that's the cap. 2.5 minutes. Just about. Somebody touched the cart. There you go, Profit. All right, well, they lost 2 seconds from what could have been. But, yeah. 2 minutes, 27 seconds for the Dynasty as they finish the map.
Yep.
0-3.
Right.
And that's Jinmu, by the way, on EMP and Leave on 99 Bob. So again, the timing of Seoul Dynasty has been impeccable, and Chengdu have been slightly behind at the crime scene every single time. They can never catch this killer. In Seoul Dynasty, they've been killing it on this map, on the previous one also, and potentially this series as well. As I've already looked ahead to New Queen Street and done a little bit of pre-analysis on that one, saying that, and I think Seoul's compositional choices will be stronger than Chengdu's on New Queen Street. So this map is, to me, quite important for the Chengdu Hunters to be able to bounce back and gain a lead on. So far, that's just not been the case from A to B to C. I don't think Hunters realistically won a single fight. Maybe we could throw them a bone and say that opening Leave headshot, First Blood, was kind of
hardly a
fight.
Like
a skirmish win. That's like a skirmish win, right? So you give them, you throw them a little bone there. You know,
that's one person dead.
But for Seoul Dynasty, aside from that, they pushed through from A to C flawlessly, uninhibited. They were ahead on very specific ultimates and the timings of which at all points, and perfect dive in the EMP Smurf combo on the B point bridge, as we pointed out, and otherwise just nullified the value of Chengdu's ults entirely on that B defense.
Well, once more into the breach we go. Let's see how they fare now on the attack. It was a very strong start for them on King's Row before the works got gummed up going in towards B. just hunting around the flank, spots Gaga, goes for the hack, finds it. Start piling some damage in onto him as they look for the dive. And Fitz fortunately has that translocator, otherwise he was going to be going off the side of the map.
Well, Seoul Dynasty will just wait out Smurf's hack here. Payload distance has been quite slow, given that both Smurf and Fitz and Prophet have been kind of assaulting that payload ever so briefly. Small windows there. Prophet is very far up on ult charge, so we're going to look at quick pulse bomb here. Nice Byronade as well.
Oh. It catches him right before he goes for the dive. No punish to be found though. Jinmu forced back as Fitz has taken the lead in the EMP race. Just get spotted, however,
Monk
has to
has
make his
the-
leave.
Monk has his nano on board as well. This is very similar to what we saw from Eris on the attack as well. It's the attacking iron advantage. It's a 10% advantage at this rate. And look, if Monk pulls the trigger early, Seoul can do very little to stop this, except for Pulse from Prophet making a difference. So that is going to be key now, as the nano should come through ASAP.
Oh, they're clustered up. He's looking for it. He's got the stick, and it's both supports taken out by Prophet. Just casually identifies their position, now looks for the finish on the Gaga, and he has got it. A 3K for Prophet in the fight. Leave, doesn't make it out. Four kills. Where was
You all
this
forgot
Prophet
about
map
Prophet
one?
DPS. You forgot about the Prophet
happened there?
DPS. Everyone's like, hey, this break player is like kind of okay at DPS. No, this is Prophet. Don't forget. Here's the impact of that kill though. The 4K coming through from Prophet, but especially the 2 on the Pulse and the double supports of the Chengdu Hunters. First of all, we have a positional disadvantage as Hunters now lose all that forward positioning. Have to push through. They're going to be up against EMP, but Eris has also matched Monk now. So there's no longer a free window of nano advantage for Monk that did exist for Eris on their 8-point attack.
Okay.
4v5 though.
Great hack. The Prophet does get taken down because of that one. Gaga able to dive back in. They find the kill. Leave holding on to the pulse bomb of the zone now needs to come up huge. EMP only catching Gaga, but this time there's just not enough throughput of the damage to try to actually get a punish there. But he does just manage to shrug that one off. Oh, pulse bomb stick is in. Here is going to be taken out. Nicely done there by Leave. Vinham as well, zoned out all on his lonesome. They know exactly where he's at, and he is going to fall. Rally popped by Nisha. I don't know if this is necessary in the fight, but they definitely want to make sure they can secure this here. And with Smurf just having his corpse sent into the stratosphere, they absolutely have it. So 3:45 in the time bank. Not too bad here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters, but they need a very fast second phase of the map.
It's a recovery for sure. Fitz just desperate to get away at least. He won't be chased down here. But he is on a bit of a mission. Alright, that's an interesting position. Yeah, he'll just wait for translator kit.
No, but this platform.
He's tricky. Oh my goodness, that's pretty smart. You know what? As a bit of an Overwatch lawyer myself, I'm going to say that is legal.
Yeah,
because he's not doing anything against the law there, from my perspective. Seoul have 4 ultimates though. There's one.
Oh, Prophet. Well, Monk just doesn't get to play the game when Prophet has a pulse bomb in hand. It would seem this time Nisha does get spared. Hack on the Gaga. EMP catches pretty damn near everybody. Jinmu able to clean up too. Both supports now going to be out of the fight, and that EMP completely has turned the tide, it would seem. Push out of the bubble though. Gaga's still going to be taken down. Prophet able to scoop the kill. It's greeted by a whip shot as he tries to get on top of Nisha. Is now being locked over in towards the Mega Pack. Just knocked around by Smurf. The cleanup kill comes in. Fitz a bit of a casualty as Prophet eludes getting hacked here by Jinmu. He's trying to make his way out, but Leaf manages to come around the front side of the bank. Scoops the kill. Nice alley-oop set up there by Jinmu, pulling attention. The cart inches forward once more.
Seoul Dynasty still in this fight. Eris in trouble now. Could die again. Eris needs his nano dead. He needs it badly. There's Vindame and Eris. Both under pressure here. Both surviving though.
He does, and he gets a rally off. Gaga going to be taken down. And that's going to be the Chengdu Hunters making their exit desperately, trying to retreat as fast as they can. Monk going to get taken down here in the end, though. So they look for a little bit of extra stagger, but it seems like it's just going to be the Ana. Leave in the meantime, trying to force a backdoor here.
There's definitely a pathway for victory here for the Chengdu Hunters, but they need to be capping as soon as possible. We're not thinking about Hunters matching the 2:27 in the time bank. We're thinking about Hunters being able to cap at all. So they need to survive up against a Nano and EMP play. Also, Prophet will be going for the hunt on the Pulse Bomb. If they can survive against that, and then push on through Capture B and the rest,
Can he go?
We're looking at a possibility for the Hunters to finish.
Can he go 3 for 3, finding Monk with these Pulse Bombs? Well, the
How about this double EMP?
About to find him. Yep. Oh, okay. Sleep is there, but okay,
wow.
He doesn't need the Pulse. He has the Pulse. He still kills Monk. Doesn't need to use the Pulse. Now just holds on to it. Gaga slept here onto the high ground. Fitz translocating forward, trying to get that hack across. Doesn't manage to make it happen. Jinmu, just okay with the Mac 10. Just able to burn down Prophet. Finds that kill. Will be a slight little reset.
Right
Prophet can rejoin quickly.
Style points for Monk getting the sleep dart onto Fitz, but down all the same as the rest of the Seoul Dynasty will collapse on the dive. And now less than 1 minute to go, so likely for Chengdu Hunters, if they finish the map at all, they will be capping B in the OT and capping C in the OT as well. Jinmu now on the hunt with the EMP will spot out Ares. That's one target. He wants both supports though, if possible. Or maybe not, he just wants Smurf.
EMP only gets Smurf pulse bomb from Prophet this time. Not going to connect, so Monk able to live another day. Hack out here on the Jin,
so
but he forces Fitz back, just makes him exit. Nice damage coming through from him.
Nano
trying to
Vindane.
keep themselves in this fight, but now Jinmu going to be taken down. The Nano is out of the name, as you say. Just trying to keep everybody alive as best as possible. Nano now going to expire, still under a bit of fire, but Smurf with the Primal will find one. Vindane eventually crumbling under the pressure. Gaga with the Primal of his own manages to go ahead and bat him away. Fitz now EMP at the ready, lets it loose, and Gaga hits the floor. Leave taken down as well, cannot escape, and with a couple seconds remaining and no one to touch this cart, there is no OT, there is no hope. It's a 2-0 lead for the side of the Seoul Dynasty.
And it's
2-1 lead, I should say.
Almost complete mirror of what we saw in Kings Road. Well, actually, minus the incredible C-point defense. That did not happen on Dorado, but otherwise, we have full map completion from the Seoul Dynasty and then a B-point hold for the Seoul Dynasty on their respective defense. And I got to go back in time again and reassess that Jinmu EMP, the solo onto Smurf. There was no world that was going to... First of all, credit with credit due, he saw Fitz in that play as well, but Fitz translocated out. Fantastic response from Fitz just to basically reaction translocate out of that one. But Smurf was never going to be in trouble. Eris had the Nano. It was impossible to kill Smurf with that snow. Had you even burn Smurf down, which didn't even happen, didn't even force a Nano, the Nano would have been in play to save him. So that's a bit of a boggling EMP coming through from Jinmu. He had backline instead. He actually saw Eris. I would have accepted a play onto Eris, at least had the support down, removed the Nano from the equation, play the 5v4 from there, but that just wasn't the line of decision making from the Chengdu Hunters, and the final fight on towards B was just not going their way. Had they capped, would have been OT. Chances of finishing the entire map low, but at least possible. They were definitely on the back foot for Dorado, and now we'll have to see what they can do in New Queen Street.
Alrighty, well, pressure mounting. Chengdu Hunters need to win on New Queen Street, the push map that has not been kind to them this year. If they can get a win here, it would be monstrous, and it would allow them to take this into a Game 5. We'll see if they can get it done, or if the Seoul Dynasty will keep holding their heads high at the top of the standings, just adding a little bit more to the top there when we come back to the break, so don't go anywhere. we're back. Dynasty able to take the lead, now 2-1 in the series at match point with a very dominant performance on Dorado. Got to the end of the map, managed to get that point B defense. And yeah, like you said, Shades of King's Row showing up once more. Chengdu Hunters now need to win on New Queen Street as we get ready to go into push if they want to take this to a 5th and final map and have a shot at closing out the series.
And I kind of fear for Chengdu a little bit here. I do wonder what Gaga's compositional choice of hero is going to be. Is he going to stay on the Winston or not? My guess would be probably. Does he want to play the Zarya? The problem is if you play Zarya into Smurf so far, we've seen that Smurf has been the better Zarya. Does Dynasty come in? Well, you have to kind of check for substitutions as well. I haven't seen the subs just yet, so no, there it is.
Yes,
so
he does.
Dynasty does come in. That does change a couple things. Dynasty Zarya is now suddenly on the cards, and I think that would probably end up being the play. All else equal, this could still be I don't know if it'll save Chengdu just yet. I think Dynasty actually proved in the last match that he was in, he had a very significantly strong Sigma versus Fury Sigma, which is no easy thing to do, and now he'll be tested versus Smurf. I think there's still a lot of equally strong gameplay across the board on the other players. I think Jinmu has probably been a bit behind Fit so far in Sombra today. Leave has had some moments of Tracer better than Prophet. Prophet has also had moments of Tracer better than Leave, so that one's gone, at least in my opinion, fairly equal.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the the individual performances goes, I don't think it's the biggest concern here. It's just how Chengdu went from looking so well gelled, so well oiled on that first map of Busan to then kind of stumbling. Whereas the Dynasty have been able to do the inverse. They looked completely out of sorts, and then they really rallied back and managed to look just so damn clean.
I have a bit of an explanation for that. One is that I actually think Seoul had the advantage on Mecha Base, but they kind of ruined it by flubbing in important fights. Smurf kind of being caught solo in the bridge below. That really cost them that point, I feel. Also, they just didn't touch and it was OT. But Diva on Sanctuary, I guess it's something, but that's not really what Smurf is known for. But beyond that, I just don't think it apparently gave Seoul a lot of impetus to get dives going, to get any sort of plays going. It's certainly not strong enough to beat Monk and Nisha, so opening sleep on a gym move, but he's okay.
Smoking up, Smurf gonna fall, Dynasty finds the kill. Prophet in the meantime did manage to get leave, and now Jinmu's gonna be taken down, so it's DPS-less here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Tankless for the Dynasty. They try to force Prophet off the side of the map, not going to work, however. Bot does get taken for a brief little moment, 0.55 meters set up, and there you go, it's all over. Chengdu Hunters have gotten an insurmountable
Stop the count. Distance. Stop the count.
Yep.
Fast forward
the next 9 minutes.
Well, so far we are back in towards a stalemate. The important thing to note here is that Dynasty did retain a little bit of energy. It's not a lot, like 20, 15 here, and rapidly descending Smurf will be building back towards the energy. They should be about equal now. Chengdu's slight height advantage. Dynasty in trouble though, no support.
Not at all. Does end up falling. Now it's going to be Fitz taken down. Prophet dies. We'll have the complete inverse of the last fight and how that one started. And he is under fire, and he is dead. So it's going to be the DPS on one side for the tank on the other. Still very much a neutral fight. Okay.
What really goes wrong there for Dynasty is that he's the only one on payload contesting. The rest of his team is above, which is fine, but no LOS from support. So once Dynasty under pressure, Nisha and Monk chose not to, could not, was not able to help middle. And now looking at ultimates coming online. Fitz and Eris plus Monk.
Bot still pushing forward here. Still small numbers that we're talking about at the moment, but if the Chengdu Hunters can win out the fight, then they can definitely make this a bit of a larger figure for them. Nano goes out on the both of the Zaryas, but Smurf is able to put to use here first and foremost. Finds Jinmu. Now the grab going to be online. Hack on the Dynasty. Bubble himself. Prophet dash across. Manages to find that elimination. Now the Dynasty have broken things open for themselves. Just the Nano invested. Well, they rack up 4 other ults to use in the future fights.
Well, you saw there as well, the Nanos coming through onto both the Zaryas, but Hunters, they were lacking at least a couple more in terms of Jinmu, I believe, was just below Blade. Leaf obviously still 95 here. And had, Hunters, were they able to just pull back slightly, Nisha speed them back, Monk play for the Nano Blade, I think that would have been a much more successful fight for the Hunters, given that Eris already burned the Nano and Smurf. And now Jinmu goes for it, but it gets EMP'd.
Yeah, I mean, both Genjis, both just going to get evaporated with sound barrier out on either side. Neither can survive the grab. Smurf manages to find two. points. Nisha and Leave now taken down. 100 energy for him as Dicey is desperately trying to fight back, but just can't do a damn thing, even when that nano layered in from Monk. The bot going to continue pushing forward. The checkpoint will be found.
And that is a pivotal fight, rather, to lose for Chengdu, as no contest there. They'll have to be waiting for a little bit longer. And despite both Genji's being burned, Achilles, Prophet still holds on to Blaze, so that's still a net loss for the Hunters, all else equal, because we did play for sound barriers, play for double grabs there as well. Seoul Dynasty, I think the only thing Seoul lose is the fact that, okay, because they did actually lose a couple members, they do have to kind of wait for the respawners. Now that they have 5 together, play for this nano play, then they can go for it. Ares just 15% off, now 9.
Closer and closer to it. There you go, overclock now going to be popped. Leave trying to force them back, and it looks like the Dynasty wisely happy to make their exit for now. Smurf going to be nanoed up again. Prophet dead. Yeah, they do. Prophet's the one who dies. Jinmu with a nice little pick, but Smurf finds Dicey. It's not without cost here from the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Can't just find the pick and get out. Jinmu dead as well.
Can Seoul get enough distance off this? They lost 1 member, right? So they will have to eventually play the 4v5, and Hunters will be able to regroup for it. But currently, meterage is being found. We're going to get above 70 here for sure. It is very interesting that Seoul have now repeatedly not played for the nano play, going for the nano onto Smurf as well. It does give them kills, but it does forfeit Prophet. Waiting for Grav and EMP to come through next. It's the next ability for them to actually be able to snowball.
Blade pulled from Prophet. He's dead. Tried to get on top of Nisha. The bubble was there from Dicey. They keep protected, and the Monk just snipes him down. Beautifully done by Monk. Now the ear is dead as well. It's going to be a good amount of distance here for the Chengdu Hunters to try to get into a push position. Still long, really big amount of space to try to close out, but a nice shot from Leave to finish off Fitz as well.
I just think that was optimistic from Seoul. I mean, without Nanoblade, a bubble can only do so much for Prophet, and he can't even get away. He actually spent his dash to try and go backwards, still killed in mid-dash anyway, and for Seoul Dynasty, they could have just played that one patiently. They have EMP plus Grav online. Smurf should know that he's above Dicey anyway. And Seoul Dynasty, had they just played that one and waited for those 2 ultimates and not play the Blade, or play the Blade as the tertiary ultimate, the 3rd in priority compared to the first 2, Seoul could have probably have won that and continued pushing.
Blade pulled from Jinmu, finds one. Here is dead. Fitz trying to finish off Leaf, just can't quite make it happen. That name does somehow stay alive. He was under quite a bit of fire there for a while, but keeps himself in the mix. Now has that sound barrier online. Bot again, just being held by the Dynasty, just keeping it locked in a neutral position, not letting the Chengdu Hunters push too much more.
I think 30 meters is kind of acceptable for now, because they can win 2 fights and get a cap, and suddenly the game is open again in 4 minutes, so that's what they're really hoping for. 74 meters is only barely ahead of the cap. It's enough for Seoul to win if they can solidify this defense for the rest of the map and prevent Hunters from reaching a cap, so it really just comes down to Hunters, and if they can snowball this one, sound barrier to block the grab.
It throws it down. EMP now comes across. Fitz helps take down Dicey. Gets the kill. Smurf just continues to advance forward, looking for another target. And Leave and Monk eventually just have to offer themselves up onto Smurf here.
Oh, that's a big kill.
Monk will take down Smurf, and that is a huge kill. He had 94 energy.
That's not just that, but it's the respawn distance. That's the one play you can't afford to lose. Vindane has to potentially go back and escort right now. He's actually not going to taxi, so what you notice is because Smurf dies, Seoul have to give up this point, which means they can get no progress at all. They sacrificed that entire fight just off the heroics of Monk. Had Smurf lived, they would have pushed that for sure. They would have gotten distance. At least force Hunters to pull ultimate just to regain payload control. Now Hunters get payload control for free.
Wow. Only a couple extra meters racked up there. Two Hunters keeping themselves very much within this. The rail shot from Leaf not going to connect. Prophet playing just there in the alleyway, keeping the spot locked in position, trying to build up Poke and Fraud to get that Dragon Blade online. Jinmu pushing forward though. Just charging up here. Gets on top of Iris for a brief little moment. Sleepback does come across. They're trying to find the finishing blow here on the Jinmu, however. Actually, Fitz will manage to get it at the end. So took down Monk moments before that. Gets himself out, but the Chengdu Hunters will finally break through. Get themselves back over to the bot. Get themselves pushing here in a brief moment. Fitz just trying to buy some time.
Now,
everybody else to respawn.
The really cute thing about that from Fitz, not just the blocking of the payload there, but the 2 kills, is we kind of got the opposite situation now, where Chengdu are the ones that are forced to back out. Look how passive their positioning is, because they have to go back for certain taxis. Nisha's bringing Muck back into the fight. Fitz now waiting for EMP. He can definitely catch double supports. The only issue here is that Smurf can't go in.
Okay, EMP opens, gets that sound barrier out of the way. That does give Prophet a window of opportunity, though, as he holds on to this blade. Grab nearly online as well for Smurf. Here's trailing a little bit further behind towards that nano boost, but should have it here in just a brief little moment. Blade going to be pulled by Chengdu, looking for a target. Finds one, gets taken down. Smurf pulls the grab just to go ahead and really isolate that Genji. They do find the kill, but the checkpoint getting ready to be obtained here from the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Dynasty, they're starting to fall apart. Everybody dead. That's the checkpoint, potentially a lead now.
And now Monk gets the forward spawn. Nisha can go back to get the taxi, and they can play for the full 5v5. They should be able to get Monk back into play by the time that the payload will progress again. And Seoul Dynasty have all 5, so we are fully back into a 5v5. Nisha has been slept. That is a little bit curious. Hopefully, well, they have bubbles to save him, so Dynasty should be fine in that sort of situation to do that. Hunters, one more fight, and they can equalize the distance.
And there's the grab. Prophet going to be found. Cannot survive. Blade out of the equation.
Oh my,
Smurf melted. His HP bar absolutely disappeared. What a magic trick from the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Now they're pushing. They can see the victory right there in their eyes. 55 seconds as they look to take the lead. Fitz goes into the back. He got slept for a brief moment, manages to make it out alive, and that's going to be crucial for him.
Okay,
somebody needs to get this touch now.
Seoul cannot allow the flip. They cannot allow the flip.
Yes.
At all costs, Seoul must stop this flip now. Has to be beat Blade, pull through every single ultimate that they have. If Monk survives, he can nano in response.
All right, beat Blade, Nisha dead, Monk as well going to die. Dicey going to be antied out as Prophet manages to find himself nearly 4 kills. Fitz takes away the last one there. He's looking for Jinmil. They can get this kill. It's a massive stagger for them, but Nisha right there at the spawn room. They help keep him alive. The forward spawn now going to be lost for the side of the Chengdu Hunters.
All 5.
Everybody has been able to get back into this one. They need to win the
where's
fight.
Vindane? Vindane was really far forward there. So is Fitz. Okay, they're safe. Bubbles saved them there, but Smurf is full out of bubbles, at least for now. 1 back online. Final fight territory now. Chengdu have to win 2 fights to get this map. Seoul have to win 1.
Fitz, 12% of the EMP, nearly online. Monk getting harassed in the back line, uses the Bionade onto himself to just keep himself in the fight. There's going to be the Nano out on the Jinmu. He's looking for Vinhame. Vinhame, a sliver of HP. The bubble comes in. Smurf keeps him alive.
It ends now.
Vinhame still just going to be hopping around like a madman. The graph nearly built up. Fitz, EMP
Smurf
ready to go.
low, Smurf low.
Under duress. Goes so damn low. EMP going to be used the overclock shot from Leaf. Manages to find the kill. Prophet gets on top of him, however. Answers that one back, but the man advantage still going to be there for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. But as I say it, the grab comes in from Smurf, and the cleanup is looking good. Jinmu, the last man standing, will die. The OT will plummet, and the Dynasty will be able to take this map and this series. New Queen Street is theirs, and it's a 3-1 victory over the Chengdu Hunters.
And when all else fails, you can rely on Smurf and Prophet to get it done. Grav, Prophet still up, and the rest of the Chengdu Hunters will melt under the pressure. They, unfortunately, had to win 2 fights in a row to get it across the board to be able to finish this map and get the cap and take us to a 5th and final decider. For the Seoul Dynasty, they had already maintained the lead. They just needed to make sure they prevented the flip. They did so admirably. Beaten Blade combo, beautifully implemented, and for Prophet, 2 to 3 Ks in that fight. And Seoul Dynasty, a closer New Queen Street than I would have hoped for, than I would have thought. I would have imagined Seoul Dynasty would have had a far more one-sided map, but Chengdu kept it close, but not close enough, unfortunately, for them to get a map victory here, so we're not going to be able to go to a map number 5. Hunters, it's a really good effort. I got to say, this was a great game for Hunters, despite losing some things in there that did not go their way, but otherwise, I think Hunters played admirably.
They certainly had their moments that, you know, Kings Row and everything, definitely gonna be feeling a bit sore for that and Dorado, but a good effort for sure on New Queen Street, a map that they have been struggling with this whole year throughout, but they can't quite make it happen. A bit of a rough juxtaposition based on how we saw them perform on that first map versus the rest of the series, or at least the maps in between. But there's still very much hope here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. While they are at risk of falling down into that 7th position and missing out on everything, it seems like it's nigh impossible for that to occur. But it would be very Chengdu of them if it did happen. Anyway, we'll jump into our player of the match. This one I think was pretty much on the edge between 2 people in particular, but Prophet, the GOAT, he has managed to edge up just a slightly bit more over Smurf to be able to take the award today.
I think when you start to get deeper into the series, you start to really get a hold of Prophet's capabilities on the DPS again. As a reminder to us of why he is first and foremost the GOAT, and second of all, why he is I think one of the purest of MVP candidates that we do have this year. You know, he's been phenomenal now on 2 roles, played an entire stage of Brig in the Summer Showdown, now comes back in for the Seoul Dynasty on his signature DPSs. I mean, you'll remember this double pulse bomb stick that just did so much damn work for the Seoul Dynasty. I mean, I think that really set the stage for the Seoul Dynasty on this Dorado defense. And, you know, then his Genji heroics across the board on all the maps that he played, that comboing with both Smurf and Fitz for perfect dives. This Blade to save the map, you know, Prophet had to get the done on this beat Blade. They only had the 2 ultimates to play through, and they needed value, and they got it. So for the Seoul Dynasty, edging out the Chengdu Hunters, a couple of close affairs there. A couple of maps did go a lot more one-sided. A couple of maps didn't go. Well, one map did not go their way, and at least one of the map was far too close for comfort. But Prophet is the player of the match. He was performing, I think, to the highest degrees in the series, and Seoul Dynasty still in the lead. They might have dropped the map today, but they are still the leading team in this region, in this stage.
That they are. Just looking impeccable, but, you know, they do get that little blemish, I guess, on the record, dropping a map for the first time here in the Countdown Cup qualifiers. So, you know, they don't walk away completely unscathed. There is a wound there. But the bleeding has widely been stemmed. A great performance here from the side of the Seoul Dynasty. We'll talk a little bit more about this matchup, though, because we have a game break coming up in just a few minutes, and then we'll set the stage for our second series of the evening. So don't go anywhere, guys. Our faces right back here on your screens in just a moment. Sorry if you don't enjoy that, but it's going to happen anyway.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League, and by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
And we are back. It's time for a little game break. Serious, if you just missed it, if you're just now tuning in because you're a Shanghai or a Fusion fan, well, you missed a pretty close one overall. We'll ignore some of the snafus that occurred on maps 2 and 3. The Chengdu Hunters started things off very strongly on Busan. Dynasty looking very much out of sorts on that map, but, I mean, what a turnaround. And this is something I think that in the past, we haven't seen too much from the Dynasty Avril, especially, you know, going back to maybe even 2 years ago. Last year, still pretty damn good. But this is looking better than ever for them, where they can actually recover from losses.
I think I didn't really have a lot of doubt. I feel like for the Seoul Dynasty, they've just been a cut above this entire year from start to finish, literally winning kickoff clash and being in multiple finals, despite being the weaker team compared to Shanghai in Summer Showdown, still going 2-4 in the finals, I think is impressive. I kind of want to look at a couple of different things here from Seoul's POV, and mostly that comes down to the changes this team has made composition between week 1 and 2 here. I'm mainly focusing on the tank line, but with some attention being brought to the supports as well, because not only are you seeing Smurf play a lot more of the off tanks, including Zara, even a smattering of the D.Va in there, but we are also seeing double flex support back on the menu for Seoul Dynasty. So Seoul at the moment, to me, are flexing closer towards an NA style of playing double flex support plus off tank than what a lot of other APAC teams have done, which is mainly stick towards the Winston and playing one flex support, one main support as traditional, which is a lot of Chengdu's game plan today. I was maybe a little surprised at Chengdu's lack of a Sombra. I feel like that's actually one of the key differences that allowed Seoul to get so much more done. You know, we gave Prophet the player of the match. Smurf got very, very, I think, justified kudos as maybe the next best candidate for player of the match, and he had a phenomenal series.
Yeah.
But to me, Fitz kind of set the stage for a lot of the success, right? He was the guy laying up that ball for either Prophet or Smurf to get the dunk every single time. The amount of openings that Fitz found off hacks, especially on the Gaga, I noted very clearly that Gaga's gameplay today was heavily impacted. He was solo EMP'd, hacked out as a target at a lot of different points, and burnt down summarily extremely quickly as well. So that you really have to credit Fitz for, and I think the Sombra difference to me really was quite apparent. And you know, at various points, Chengdu also wanted to play Sombra, but Jinmu just swapped to it too late. And even when Jinmu played Sombra, it wasn't up to the same standard as Fitz.
Yeah, I mean, I think just overall a really well-rounded series from the set of the Chengdu Hunters. Granted, I mean, you know, Vindheim, he did have that Ajax in there and whatnot, but it felt like after that first map, that break was more than enough for them to just go ahead and be like, okay, we got our butts kicked. It's time to just focus up. Let's go into map number 2 and play like we normally do, and that's exactly what we saw. Chengdu Hunters, though, they do continue to look quite strong in this meta. Just need to see a little bit more from them to be able to take down, you know, these titanic teams in the region, such as the Dynasty.